system. Day in and day out, the lots of cyber fraud are increasing, and we all know that in such era, when the digital platform is very much useful for each and everybody, especially in this type of lockdown condition, right? And but the fraud, for the fraud, everybody is very much depressed that what to be done. So having this in our mind, we have decided that let us share some ideas with you about how to secure the online transaction. And for this, we are having our expert person with us, and he is Dr. Yatin Mehta. Now, first of all, let me introduce Dr. Yatin Mehta. He is a practicing pediatrician in Vadodara since 27 years. He was national chairman of Computer and Medical Informatics chapter of Indian Academy of Pediatrics from 2012 to 2016. He was President Academy of Pediatrics Vadodara in 2000. He is regular national faculty on the subject of computers in medicine. And he is using practice management software since 1996. Not only that, he himself has written few softwares in computer language. So now let us hear something from Dr. Yatin Mehta. So I welcome Dr. Yatin Bhai.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So Yatin Bhai, now I have introduced the subject that securing online transaction, and now it is the audience is very much enthusiastic to hear you and to know that how we can secure the online transaction. So now the mic is with you, and so please start and share your views. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, I'll start. Good evening, all. At the outset, let me thank the team of HITCOM for giving me this opportunity to share my views in front of this august, albeit virtual audience. It's a tragedy that due to COVID-19 pandemic, we are forced to work from home amidst the national lockdown and corona scares. I'm definitely missing your physical presence in front of me. But I think that we all will have to get used to this lifestyle of maintaining social distancing. Today's agenda is very simple. I'll be talking on securing online transactions. I will introduce the subject. I will talk something about Zoom controversy. I'll sensitize you about cyber fraud, and we'll learn how to become cyber smart. We'll learn how to do prudent credit card transactions. I will restrict myself to give practical tips rather than a more theoretical thing, something which we can easily implement. Dear friends, for every lock, there is someone out there trying to pick it or break in. One single vulnerability is all an attacker needs. The hackers are so smart that even a single vulnerability in a software is sufficient for them to hack. It is said that there are only two types of companies in the world, those that have been hacked and those that will be. And even that is merging into one category, those that have been hacked and those which will be hacked again. Well, we all know the Zoom video communication app, the software, the controversy, security flaws. My question to you all, are you using Zoom? Well, if the answer is no, then let me tell you that we are already using Zoom to Facebook Live at present. So practically everybody is using Zoom. Now, if we see why Zoom is so popular, there are good reasons that Zoom has taken off so well and other platforms have not. Because Zoom is easy to set up, easy to use, and lets up to 100 people join in a meeting for free. And it just works. Uh, the Zoom's ease of use has made it very easy for hackers to bomb open Zoom meetings. And Zoom security has left lot of holes open. So let us see what all happened with Zoom use. Like, what people suffered while using Zoom. Zoom meeting recordings are easy to find online. Whatever is being transpired now is recorded on Zoom. And not only that, it is recorded on Zoom's server. And these recordings can be easily accessed by somebody unknown to anybody in future. So not only these recordings are findable, but they are regularly viewed. This is because of predictable URL structure and no password protection to the recorded files. If a meeting recording is viewable, so is the Zoom meeting ID, and the attacker might be able to access future recurring meetings. To defeat this particular flaw, Zoom added a CAPTCHA challenge, which forces the would-be meeting recording watcher to prove that they are human. But the URL pattern has not been changed, nor the password protection given to the stored files. So ultimately, they can easily go through the recordings, albeit manually. Zoom zero-day exploits on sale on dark web for $5 lakh. Now, zero days are hacks that take advantage of vulnerabilities the software makers doesn't know about and which users have little or no defense against. And one exploit is for Windows, and that lets a remote attacker get full control of a target's computer. Zoom username and passwords on sale. Almost more than 5 lakh Zoom accounts are being sold or are already given away. These accounts were not compromised as a result of Zoom data breach, but instead through credential stuffing. That is when criminals try to unlock accounts by reusing credentials from accounts compromised in previous data breaches. It works only if an account holder uses the same password for more than one account. And that is what we are doing. Many times we remember only few passwords and we use the same password that I'm using in my email, same password I'm using in the Zoom account. So if you have a Zoom account, make sure that its password is not the same as the password for any other account you have. Many researchers found that they found out a version of Zoom installer that has been bundled with what is called as a cryptocurrency mining malware. Zoom encryption is not up to the mark. Zoom is misleading the world users about its encryption. Zoom says, or it claims, it uses AES 256 encryption to encode video and audio. That is, the data travels between the client and the Zoom server. But it was found by the researchers that Zoom actually uses much weaker AES 128 algorithm. To this, in a blog, April 3rd, Zoom CEO Eric Yuan acknowledged the encryption issue, but said only that we recognize that we can do better with our encryption design, and we expect to have more to share on this front in the coming days. But so far, it has not done anything. Now, what is Zoom bombing? Anyone can bomb a public Zoom meeting if they know the meeting number and then they use the file share photo to post shocking images or make annoying sounds in the audio. The best way to avoid Zoom bombing is not to share Zoom meeting numbers with anyone but the intended participants, and let participants use a password to log into the meeting. So the $1 million question, is Zoom safe to use? Well, yes, Zoom is still safe to use if you take some precautions. And answer is also no if we are discussing state or corporate secrets or disclosing personal health information to a patient, when the onus of keeping these health information safe and secure is on us doctors. So let us go through a few tips for using Zoom securely. Number one, be careful of links. Instead, give meeting ID and password. Adjust the screen sharing option immediately. Use waiting rooms. Create a webinar instead of meeting. And remember that everything is being recorded. Now, if you see this is the setting screen of the Zoom. And here you can see that, meeting ID we can generate automatically, or there is one particular fixed meeting ID, personal meeting ID given to us when we install Zoom app. So it is better to use a meeting ID which is generated automatically every time. And second is, the required password which is generated, or we can put the password, our self-generated password we can put. These two things should be definitely kept in mind. And third is enabling waiting room, which will also help in providing extra layer of security. Now, this is, as you know, that this is a screenshot of a planned Zoom meeting where you can see meeting ID, you can see the link, and then there is the password. Now, there is another setting in which you can screen sharing options have to be adjusted, and this has to be done immediately the moment you install Zoom on your computer or on your this mobile. On the general Zoom setting app window, there is an option for screen sharing. Click it and select advanced sharing setting. Here you instruct Zoom only to let the host share the screen. So majority of privacy issue will be solved. Another good thing is, as I mentioned before, is use waiting room feature. This is a hidden secret security feature in Zoom. What it does, it lets the host pre-screen the guest before the meeting starts for an extra layer of security. That is, you can enter into the waiting room, and then once host allows, then only you can come into the meeting or in the webinar. Arrange a webinar instead of a meeting. Well, in meeting, the screen sharing, audio sharing is with everybody. In webinar, it is, the host, the control is with the host. So the participation is only with the host, or only to those persons who are going to speak. So it is always better to go for a webinar than to go for a meeting. The only thing is meeting is free, whereas webinar, you need to use a paid version of Zoom. So that is about Zoom controversy. Let us go ahead to that. Now I'm talking about general online transaction tips and everything. There was initially computer, there was a revolution in information technology, then came mobile revolution, and then came data revolution. And data revolution is so much so that now it is said that data is a birthright of every individual. So actually company cannot charge us for the data, company can charge us for the data speed. Now with this, everybody is having a mobile, everybody is having a smartphone, and everybody is using smartphone for so many things. And that is why threats in the world will come. But before that, let us understand that there are two realities of life. First reality, that we all are tied. Whether we like it or not, we all are tied, where shekel is seen or shekel may not be seen. But irrespective of our educational status, irrespective of our gender, irrespective of our other status, our business, whether we are from village, whether we are in urban area, whether we are in rural area, everybody is tied with the mobile. And now this is a very typical picture, and sometimes we do, find out some abnormal persons who are not addicted to mobile, and we feel that these are the persons who should be sent to psychiatrists, that what is the abnormality with them. And second reality is everyone is online. everyone is online, even our staff, even our sweeper, class 4 person, everybody is online. And with that, thanks to Narendra Modi, that he has allowed everybody to go for Janadhan bank account. So everybody is having bank account, everybody is having a debit card, everybody is having a smartphone. So now it is so easy to do a shopping online. So everybody does it, irrespective of the gender. The whole family indulges in doing online shopping. And I'm sure that a day will come that everything is at our tip of the finger. And why not, when whatever we have shopped, even at middle of night, is delivered at our doorstep, without any other extra work, why not go for that? And I'm sure that a day will come that will not be going to the mall physically to buy anything. So with this, threats in cyber world are increasing. And why not? If I can rob you of your money without going out of my house and without entering your house, why should not I try? And let me tell you, this picture is less horrible than actual threat which is happening in, or which is there in the real world. So a question comes in the mind that why computers are unsafe? And to answer that, I will just for a while, I'll go into technicality. What is a port in computer? In a computer it is worth understanding. In a computer networking, a port is an application specific software construct serving as a communication endpoint used by TCP, that is Transmission Control Protocol, and UDP, that is User Datagram Protocol. And each specific port is identified by its number. Now, how many ports a PC can have? You'll be surprised that a computer has total of more than 65,000 TCP ports and more than 65,000 UDP ports. To comprehend this, imagine that you are living in a palace with 65,000 doors and 65,000 windows, and you want to keep it secure, you want to make it secure. How difficult it will be. So this is what is happening with the computer. The security issues that we face now is, first and foremost, what in a technical language it is known as BYOD, bring your own device. Everybody comes with their own computer. That is a palm top. It is not laptop, it is not desktop, but the smartphone is a palm top. Ransomware are still there all over. Now there is one more thing has added into the paradigm, that is cloud vulnerability. And these hackers have also become smart. They have started using AI enhanced cyber threats. That is, artificial intelligence is also being used for hacking. This is what is called as AI fuzzing, machine learning poisoning, deep fake, and social engineering attacks. So, to face this, to protect ourselves against all these cyber threats, cyber frauds, only one thing we can do. Then only we'll be able to remain safe. And that is, we have to become smart. We have to become cyber smart. A very good management lesson that never start a project unless all resources are available. So let us go through the tips by which we can become a cyber smart. Tip number 1, remember and realize that virtual world is worse than real world. We have to imbibe it in our mind that virtual world is worse than the real world. Because in real world, we'll be able to see the enemy, but in virtual world, we'll not be able to see the enemy. Because the hackers are everywhere. Philosophy of hackers is to hack the world, and the motivation to hack is always monetary gain by stealing your password. Tip number 2, we should develop a cyber skill to protect ourselves, and that is what we are doing it now. Tip number 3, we have to make our computer more secure. Now, how to make computer more secure? Keep your computer up to date with internet security software, operating system patches, regular updates of browsers, firewalls, and we should be using genuine software. Internet security should consist of antivirus, anti-spam, anti-malware, anti-spyware, anti-phishing, anti-adware, and whatnot. Tip number 4, adjust your browser to make it more secure. Unless you have taken the time to configure your browser's privacy, there is a good chance your browser is not as secure as you would like it. From location tracking to nosy cookies to pop-ups, web browsers are full with loopholes that can compromise your security in unintended ways. And very surprising that all these web browsers, by default, there are a lot of loopholes, lot of holes, security holes in that. But you need to go into the settings and you have to make them secure. So how do we do that? First and foremost, we should be choosing a secure browser. In a one study in 2020, they have in that particular study, it was proven that we all first to 10 number of browsers in a descending order of security, making Firefox number 1 secure browser, Chrome number 8, and Microsoft Edge number 10. Look down your browser's privacy settings. Well, you need to check your browser's privacy setting and other settings regularly, and especially after each update, because configuring your privacy setting is one of the most important things you can do to secure your web browser. And by default, as I mentioned, many browser settings leave your personal data exposed. In that, first and foremost, disable pop-ups and redirection, because it can be used to spread malicious software. Number 2, don't allow automatic downloads, because the downloads can contain malware and viruses. Ask to be prompted before downloading anything. Number 3, keep cookies in check. Delete cookies after browsing and turn off third-party access to the cookies. Number 4, restrict access to your location, camera, and microphone. And set your browser settings so that it will ask permission before accessing these features. Number 5, deactivate ActiveX. ActiveX is considered outdated and poses security risk. So consider deactivating ActiveX, Flash, and JavaScript as well. And number 6, turn on send a do not track request. This will help prevent websites from tracking you. Keep your browsers up to date. Even the most secure web browsers cannot protect you from latest threats if it is out of date. Like, now many of the browsers, they update themselves automatically, but many do not. So you have to go into the settings and check whether they are getting updated regularly or not. In most browsers, if you click on About in Help section, it will tell whether it is up to date or not. There is something called as a browser security extensions. Most browsers give you the option of installing additional security extensions to help improve your browser security and privacy. When using any type of extension, make sure the extension is endorsed by that particular browser you are using, and be sure to enable automatic updates so that extension is always up to date. And these security extensions are HTTPS Everywhere, AdBlock Plus, Click and Clean, Privacy Badger, Blur. Use VPN when you browse the web. This is especially for corporate world, or if you are dealing with very sensitive information. VPN is virtual private network. It will disguise your IP address and location. It will encapsulate your web traffic, and it will encrypt your web traffic. Tip number 5, make your Wi-Fi secure. Now, the router is perhaps the most important gadget in your office and in your home, because it checks all incoming and outgoing traffic, acting as a sentry to make sure that nothing dangerous comes in and nothing sensitive goes out. It controls access to your home and office Wi-Fi network, and through that, all of your phone, tablet, laptops, and more. So if someone else gains access to that network, whether a remote hacker or your next door neighbor, it is going to compromise all the devices which is attached to that particular network. So it is important to make it more secure. This will be a little bit boring and probably it will be a little bit difficult, but if you call your computer vendor, he'll be able to help you out in this, but it is worth going through it. So how to make the Wi-Fi more secure? First and foremost, change the name of your default home network, which is called as SSID. SSID meaning service set identifier. You know, when you access your network, a name is assigned. Like it is Meta's network or home network. Everywhere, or if you are using one particular router, Tenda, then it is Tenda network, or it is a Linksys network. So a name is assigned. Now this name is default name given to that particular router. Now this default name has to be changed. Changing your Wi-Fi's default name makes it, sorry. Okay. Changing your Wi-Fi's default name makes it harder for attacker to know what type of router you have. So if a hacker knows the manufacturer name of your router, they will know what vulnerabilities that model has and then they try to exploit them. So nobody should be able to judge by the name of that particular network whose network it is. Number two, make sure you set a strong and unique password to secure your wireless network. Again, every router comes with a password to have an access to that particular router and also a password for Wi-Fi. So by default, they are default password which are set when the router is made. Something like, the login ID is admin and the password is 12345. So this particular thing should be changed because the vendor who has come to install the router is least interested to do that. So you have to take an interest to change it. A good wireless password, that is, the password by which you can access your Wi-Fi through any of the device, should be at least 20 character long, and it should include number, letter, and various symbols. Number three, to make the Wi-Fi secure, increase your Wi-Fi security by activating network encryption, that is WPA, WEP, WPA2. Little bit again technical. Now let us understand this terminology. WPA2, which is a industry standard, it means Wi-Fi protected access to. It is a security protocol and a current standard in the industry, and it encrypts the traffic on Wi-Fi network. Whereas WEP means wired equivalent privacy, it is, and WPA, which is Wi-Fi protected access. WPA is the most basic, then comes WEP, and beta will be WPA2. And the good news is that very soon we will be getting WPA3, which will be more secure. Number four, turn off the wireless home network when you are not at home. It is a good idea to put off the router when nobody is at home, when you are going on vacation, because it will reduce it will not give opportunity to your next door neighbor or to the hacker to access your router or try to access the network. And number five, install extra hardware firewall. Now many of the routers come with a firewall and many times it is not enabled. So if firewall is there already in the router, you need to enable it. And if it is not there, there is nothing wrong in installing extra hardware firewall. Tip number six, never use insecure PC or mobile for transaction, meaning there is a big no to use free Wi-Fi at airport or coffee shop. Tip number seven, surf in a private browsing mode or incognito mode. While browsing in private mode, it won't give you full privacy. Your IP address and activities can still be tracked. Using private mode prevents your web history, browser cache, form data, and cookies from being stored after you quit the browser. So in all browsers, there is something called as a private mode. So whatever transactions you do, you should be doing it in a private browsing mode. It is also known as incognito mode. Tip number 8, type the web address yourself rather than clicking the link. This is mainly to prevent phishing. So it is a good idea if you are accessing lot many different banks, then it is a good idea to type once yourself the link on a Word document, in a form of a link. And when you want to access that particular bank, click on that link while pressing Control. It will straight away take you to that particular link. So by this, we'll be able to avoid phishing. Tip number 9, look for the lock. That is, what is called as website security checklist. That makes sure the address at the top of the page start with HTTPS. See, this is a closed padlock. Then it is a green color. And you can see here it is HTTPS, meaning it is a secured network. These three things have to be there before your transaction, before you begin the transaction. So it is, again, I am re-emphasizing it is a green color. Many times color may not be green, but it is a closed padlock and HTTPS. Tip number 10, use strong passwords. Now, password is a topic by itself. It is very important because only password is the key to your online bank or precious data. And that reminds me of a nice quotation that passwords are like the passwords are like underwear. Don't let people see it. Change it very often, and you should not share it with strangers. A password is a topic by itself. We should be making a password of almost a minimum 10 to 20 characters. It should have alphabet. It should have numbers. It should have special characters. Tip number 11, this is most important, and many a times, as it is said that this is very uncommon, but keep your common sense on. If it looks too good to be true, it may not be. Tip number 12, forget not to log out. When you've done a transaction, you should not forget to log out. You just do not close down the browser, you should log out. Tip number 13, clear browser cache often. Again, with a different browser, it is there is a different way of accessing how to, clear the cache. But on right hand side corner, when you click on it, click on the option, click on the privacy, and then you'll be able to find out clear your recent history. And when you click on it, you can clear everything. Tip number 14, disconnect from internet when not needed. Many times what happens that the computer remains on, like, that is what I do. If I'm to prepare something, I'm working on computer, normally the internet is on. But when you are working on computer and you do not need internet, it is a good idea to disconnect from the internet. And by that you will be, you will be off the grid. So chances of you getting hacked will be, you will be able to minimize it. And how to disconnect from internet? Either remove the cable or you can disable the adapter. Tip number 15, this is very important. Backup important data regularly, because no matter how much security measures you take, the hackers are very, very, very intelligent, and there are chances that maybe your computer may get into ransomware and whatnot. But if you have a data, if you have a backup of important data, then very easily you can come out of that particular hurdle. And how to take backup, a very good rule, what is called as a 3x2x1 backup strategy. Now, as the name implies, 3x2x1, that is, there should be 3 copies of the backup, one original, 2 backup. It should be stored on 2 types of storage media, maybe on CD or DVD, optical drive, or on a pen drive, or on a hard disk. And one should be in the cloud or offsite. So it is 3x2x1 rule. So dear friends, before the transaction, you update and patch your operating system, update and patch your browsers, install Internet Security Suite if you have not installed, Go for scheduled computer scan and make your Wi-Fi secure. During the transaction, start private browsing, type down the name of website yourself, look for website security checklist, that is HTTPS, green color and close padlock, and then you transact. And after the transaction, log out from the site. Do not just shut the browser or browser tab. Clear your web browser's cache, shut down the browser, and if you are not going to use internet, you disconnect from the internet. Well, email etiquettes, I will not go into that. We should be taking care of email etiquettes. Why we should be opening any email which is we are not expecting. Why we should be opening any attachment which is attached. So if you do that, then again, ransomware and many things you can prevent. Now, securing credit card and other transactions. As I mentioned, with demonetization and our beloved Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's best move of having Janadhan account, bank account of almost all the citizens of India, people are using debit credit card very often, and we have seen that in our practice, almost more than 50% transactions in urban area in Vadodara are going through, they have become cashless. And with that, we have to take certain precautions, because otherwise the credit card frauds are very common. We all know there are various kind of frauds. I'll not go into the detail, but I'll tell you, what we should be doing it. And I'm sure that many of us have not done this. We should be doing that. So let us learn the steps of securing credit card. We must understand the important informations are already there on the card, and that is name of the cardholder, card number, expiry date, and the most important CVV code, or what is called as a card verification value. Now, all these informations which are there on the card are very important, and they have to be kept private in a sense, because if somebody wants to do a fraud, they can use this kind of information and they can do the fraud. So, CVV number, it is there on the back side of the card, and it is etched on the card. So it is not printed, it is etched on the card. And this is the most important number. And if you lose it, you are not going to get it even from you need to get a new card. But this particular CVV number, you should blank it. You either scratch it, or best thing is to scratch it with a pointed metallic point. You scratch it so that it will not be seen. But before scratching, you need to memorize it. Once you do it, half of the things are you practically secured your card. Well, now we have to be using verified by Visa protection. Now for each time we get an OTP, and now government has made EMV chip card and PIN compulsory. Another good thing is that we should be blocking the international use of credit card, because majority of frauds that happen, the card is used, the data is taken from here, and the card is used in the abroad, say like my data is stolen here, and immediately it is used in London or in USA, where I cannot have an access to. So it is a good idea to block the international use of credit card, and for that you need not to go to the bank. In all the websites, if you are using HDFC, Regalia or other card, if you go into your HDFC bank website, there are features in which there are you can do that. You can increase, you can make it on or off. You can block the international use of credit card just by some click. And if you are going to travel abroad, you can enable it. Same is, keep the daily credit limit of your credit card low. Maybe my card has an upper limit of say 6 lakh rupees, but I am never going to use 6 lakh in a day, right? So I can keep my daily, because I know that I'm not going to spend more than 10,000 rupees a day. So I can reduce the daily credit limit to only 10,000. So even if something happens, that person cannot use more than 10,000. Never scribble your PIN on your credit card or anywhere. You should memorize PIN. And if you feel that PIN has been compromised, you should get another PIN. Even this is also possible very easily by calling up the helpline number, and through IVR it is done. And even through website, the that particular HDFC or the bank website, you can generate a new PIN. This is a concept we should be keeping in our mind, that we do not keep cash anywhere, everywhere. We have assigned the place and we keep cash there only. Same way, this particular credit card, you treat it like a cash. Don't keep it anywhere, because if it is kept anywhere, it can be stolen, it can be misplaced. Keep your card number confidential because it is important. Ensure that your transaction is processed in your presence every time you make a purchase. And do not give any credit card information to individuals soliciting sales over the phone. And never allow anyone else to use your card. It is yours and yours alone. Do not leave expired card lying around. Rather, cut them. Cut them in 2 pieces and then you can destroy. This is last but not the least. Store your credit card issuer 24/7 helpline number in your all mobiles, because you never know when you are going to lose a card. You never know when you are going to get that message that $5,000 are debited from your account because of this and that. So you should be prepared that the moment you get the message, you can immediately contact the helpline number and you can block the card. So dear friends, in summary, remember, quality and safety don't happen by accident. At the end of the day, the goals are simple: safety and security. Safety is like a lock, but you are the key. And the internet is insecure by default. Understand that internet is insecure by default. Netiquette and security consciousness only will keep you safe. Dear friends, thanks for hearing this, and I hope that you will be able to implement whatever I have told you to make your online transactions little bit more secure. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yatin Bhai.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you have given a very lucid, in a lucid way, the very good approach to all these type of security which everybody should take why the online transaction should be done. So I am really very much thankful to you on behalf of HITCON that we have called you for this thing and you have given the full justice to the subject given to you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I'm leaving the meeting, okay?